This is the single best fight sequence from Reacher. Reacher's amazing action scenes are a huge attraction of the hit television series. The show's dynamic fight sequences hooked us from the first episode, such as when Jack Reacher, Alan Ritchson, takes out several prisoners looking to murder him, and Paul Hubble, Mark Bendavid. Although that signature scene in the first episode gained our attention, we hesitate to call it our favorite. The fight sequence that truly defines Reacher takes place in the first season's penultimate episode, Reacher Said Nothing, when Reacher fights the mysterious kill squad plaguing the town of Margrave, Georgia since the first episode. It's time to unpack the best fight sequence in Reacher. In the Season 1, Episode 7 fight sequence, the writers perform an exceptional job building up to Reacher's confrontation with the recurring villains of the first season. The mysterious kill squad wearing the white polyvinyl protective suits began their murder spree in the first episode, killing Reacher's brother, Joe Reacher, Christopher Russell. Later, the kill squad takes out the Margrave Police Department's Chief Morrison, Peter Skagen, and his wife in Episode 2, First Dance. Then, earlier in Episode 7, they brutally murder and torture Margrave Sheriff's Deputy Stevenson, Jonathan Coneskin, along with his pregnant wife, Emma, Joria Cadence, off-screen. Reacher and Detective Oscar Finley, Malcolm Goodwin, only see the aftermath of the squad's handiwork, but it's clear that this group had some righteous vengeance coming from the hands of Jack Reacher. Later in the episode, Reacher seeks to turn the tables on the assailants behind the massive counterfeiting operation and sets a trap for them at the Hubble residence. Thankfully, Reacher puts his military training and experience to good use, adorning himself in camouflage paint and gear. A big point of this sequence flips the script on the kill squad, who have acted as ruthless hunters since the first episode. Now they are facing Jack Reacher, so they are no longer the hunters. Reacher becomes the hunter, and they are his prey. Dawson Kleiner, J. Simmons, leads the kill squad in this episode, including the Kleiners' mobster contacts from Venezuela. The psychotic Dawson has been set against Reacher since the first episode, and he was likely in the same squad that murdered Joe. The confrontation between Dawson and Reacher had been building up almost the entire season, and this fight was worth the wait. Another interesting aspect of the fight sequence is that Reacher more closely resembles a killer from a slasher horror film, such as Michael Myers in Halloween or Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th. Reacher becomes more than a mere human when he puts his skills into action. He's an untamed force of nature, out to deliver righteous justice against evil men. However, Reacher delivers his brand of justice upon his enemies with lethal brutality. The story justifies Reacher's actions because his victims are awful individuals who are now receiving a taste of their own medicine. This scene fascinatingly presents Reacher. While his staging and behavior in this sequence resemble a slasher killer, it flips the script for that genre since the victims are not innocent or hapless teens running afoul of a dark, mysterious assailant. Reacher, acting like a slasher killer for villains, is a thread that continues throughout the series. One by one, Reacher systematically takes out all the members of the kill squad with quick, brutal, and ruthless efficiency until only Dawson Kleiner remains. The sadistic Dawson proves to be one of Reacher's toughest fights and challenges of the season. Dawson always stood out as the most unstable member of the Kleiner family, so it's not surprising that he was actively taking part in the killing floor murders throughout the season. He almost managed to take Reacher out and drown him in the Hubble's pool before Reacher found a last-minute save in the Desert Eagle loaned to him by Roscoe Conklin, Willa Fitzgerald. The first season of Reacher, based on Lee Child's beloved Jack Reacher novels, delivered a series of high-octane moments that showcased the protagonist's raw power and intellect. While there are numerous intense encounters that highlight Reacher's combat prowess, the single best fight sequence in the show happens in Episode 1, aptly setting the tone for what's to come. This particular fight occurs in the prison bathroom, a seemingly unassuming location for what becomes a brutal, strategic, and unforgettable scene. Here's why this sequence stands out among all others. The setting, a cage of danger. The bathroom fight takes place when Jack Reacher, played by Alan Ritchson, finds himself wrongfully arrested and jailed in a small-town prison. He's not alone. There's palpable tension as Reacher, an ex-military police officer, realizes that the guards are compromised and his fellow prisoners might be out to kill him. The ominous clanking of the prison gate, followed by the dead silence, heightens the suspense, signaling to the audience that something violent is about to unfold. The bathroom itself is claustrophobic, small, grimy, and poorly lit. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. This adds an immediate sense of danger to the scene. In this confined space, the fight will be brutal, raw, and personal, with no fancy choreography or elegant moves. The setting is perfect for Reacher's character, who relies on brute strength, calculated efficiency, and his ability to outthink his opponents in real time. The ambush. A calculated threat, the fight kicks off when Reacher, alone and cornered, is ambushed by a gang of dangerous inmates. These men aren't random thugs, they're organized, muscular, and deadly, each one a formidable fighter. Reacher's opponents outnumber him, making this a fight for survival rather than a simple brawl. The stakes are clear. It's kill or be killed. But Reacher doesn't just react with violence, he responds with cold calculation. This is what elevates the fight from a standard action scene to a masterclass in tension and choreography. Jack Reacher isn't a reckless brawler, he's a strategist. The camera captures the slight, almost imperceptible moments of him sizing up his enemies. He reads their body language, anticipates their moves, and dissects the situation like a military operation. The brutality of the fight, once the violence erupts, it's unrelenting. Reacher takes down the first opponent with a sudden, bone-crunching blow and elbow to the face that's so fast, you barely see it coming. What follows is a sequence that showcases Reacher's brutal, efficient fighting style. There's no wasted movement. Every punch, kick, and headbutt serves a purpose, designed to incapacitate his opponents as quickly as possible. One of the key moments comes when Reacher grabs a nearby sink pipe, yanking it from the wall with his sheer strength. It's a reminder that this isn't just a fight of fists. Reacher uses everything in his environment to his advantage. The sound of the pipe ripping out and the subsequent cracking of skulls resonates with a visceral impact. Reacher's ability to turn everyday objects into lethal weapons adds an improvisational quality to the fight that makes it unpredictable and exciting. The realism, no flash, just survival. What makes this fight stand out is its realism. Unlike many other action shows or movies where fight scenes become stylized and overly choreographed, Reacher stays grounded. The blows land with sickening thuds, and you feel the physical toll the fight takes on both Reacher and his opponents. There's nothing glamorous about this violence. It's gritty, raw, and painful to watch, which only makes it more compelling. The sound design during the fight adds to the immersion. The echoes of fists hitting flesh, bones cracking, and the groans of pain create an almost tangible sense of impact. You don't just see the fight, you feel it. And by the end, when Reacher stands over the bloodied, unconscious bodies of his attackers, you're left breathless, just like the characters in the scene. The psychology behind the fight, another layer that makes this sequence so remarkable, is the psychological warfare at play. Reacher isn't just fighting for his life, he's sending a message. He wants the inmates, the corrupt guards, and anyone else watching to understand that he is not a man to be trifled with. There's an economy to his movements and a cold detachment in his eyes that signals to his enemies that he's in total control, even when outnumbered. After the fight, there's no celebration or relief from Reacher. He simply surveys the scene, knowing that this is only the beginning of the trouble ahead. This fight,